to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello again, everyone. Happy Fed Day. We are Wednesday, 14th of June. We've been sort of looking forward to this for a while now, so we're finally going to get it out of the way. I think maybe we'll throw together a hangout in a couple hours. Usually the Fed announces around 11:30 or so. And then maybe we'll just talk through that first hour. Oh, crap. Don't have any coffee. I think, there isn't a hell of a lot new to talk to, and I also don't see there's a hell of a lot of people that even watch this anymore. So I don't know whether we'll even continue doing this in the future. But the summary video here today probably really won't be that long. I can't really see why. Yeah, so somebody, I had bought a little bit of that WAN, and of course we got to get everything off of these centralized exchanges the moment that you buy them. And somebody was reaching out on the website to try and help me. So thank you very much, GC. I appreciate it. I'll look at your posts after I'm done. Eddie doesn't like me commenting about how corrupt the crypto space is. Surprising. Eddie says, hey, Brian, I'm doing all things on my phone. Don't know exactly how the desk. Oh, is that with regard to that WAN? So did you ever get your laptop fixed? Now you're working entirely off your cell phone? Yeah, good old Greta. It's interesting in the lounge this morning. Of course, it was pretty salty conversation about the SEC and the US, and really the irony of it all is that it's about time this finally happened. I got involved in this space because I knew that we were in a commodity friendly cycle, and I liked the Bitcoin story. And I like the enthusiasm of the kids coming into the space. And I literally watched, I started that in, I guess, about 2013, 2014. The cycle peak, of course, was 1718. And the cycle did peak. Bitcoin went like basically parabolic straight up. As well as all the little shalt coins in our funny little $500 account went into a better part of $1 million. We officially took profits on that account at about 350,000, somewhere in there. So I ain't got nothing to complain about. Did everything that I expected. Now that we are into the next growth cycle, the banks, of course, are not fearful anymore. They're not vulnerable anymore. They were incredibly vulnerable there in 2013. You showing us your digital nomad stuff, Chris? Just saw that on YouTube. So it doesn't surprise me now that, of course, the banks are now playing from a position of strength. They're no longer vulnerable. They no longer really need crypto. Of course, they've gone through the Great Reset and all that crap, hyperinflated our society. So Bitcoin did serve its purpose through that cycle, sheltered anybody who didn't want to get fucked over by the Klauses of the world. They just hid away in Bitcoins. And I mean, even now, $20,000, $30,000 Bitcoin, which ironically enough, it was the peak into that 1718 cycle peak. That's probably where they wanted Bitcoin, around 20 G's. And now we're on the other side of this. This could be a pretty tough slog. Of course, we go through the 4-year cycles. So, even if you had bought Bitcoin at fib levels, $3,500, $4,000 a piece into that last cycle peak up into the 60 G's, well, that was 10x your money. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of that kind of price action here. And at the same time, too, when we go through the friendly cycles, new venture cap ideas. It doesn't matter whether it's in crypto and altcoins, shaltcoins, whatever the hell you want to call them. Or penny stocks. Remember GameStop, the way that it went crazy through that last free money cycle. I mean, that's just the way speculative assets act. So we're in 2023. I mean, the great part about it is, as I've told you all before, I mean, the irony of it all is that probably the 1% don't want the public to know this, but we give this away for free. So it's certainly not like there's some sort of onus on you to pay us money for this information. I think it's some of the best research, when it comes to market timing and cycles and stuff out there, and it's 100% free. I mean, what the hell? But the point here, of course, Mr. Benner, all that kind of idea. I would expect the market to try and find some sort of pivot bottom here through 2023. And our next little speculative cycle should take us up into 2026. But just understand, folks, we are now playing with the wind in our face, not the wind in our backs anymore. The wind is in our face. And could the Joey Diamonds of the world who own politicians, I think you could make the argument that money center banks and the whole sort of, Rothschilds kind of world, sort of elite 1% class. Actually, I think they're heavily in bed with the Democrat political party in the United States of America. So it doesn't surprise me to see that under a Democrat president, Mr. Biden, we're having sort of the lapdogs, if you will, sort of the regulatory sort of puppets, Mr. Gensler in particular, just being sicked on the industry. Sick 'em, boy, sick 'em, that kind of thing. So I think you need to understand that we are now in the growth cycle, which means that the banksters don't have to worry about their business model anymore. They've gone ahead and they've pulled it off. And now, ironically enough, generally speaking, the public is not long stock. They kind of don't like stock market. They don't like the capitalists, which is exactly what really should happen. I mean, geez, you see these crazy woke people these days. And now the job of this cycle to take us into the next cycle peak, the next major cycle peak, which is 2035 out here. This will literally be the process of them slowly sucking the public back into rah stock market, rah capitalism, rah US dollar, all that kind of talk. So just understand that, from a pure sort of commodity perspective, anti-fiat currencies perspective, anti-system perspective, be your own banker perspective, to hell with the establishment, all that. We're definitely playing with the wind in our face right now. So just understand that. And then if you do understand that backdrop, then everything you see about what's going on with, these American capitalists basically going after CZ and trying to put him out of business, and cornering the crypto market within the United States, that's just business as usual. So we had a fairly lengthy conversation in the lounge this morning about that. So anyway, a little bit of a 35-year veteran market cycle kind of talk there for you to begin the day. With regard to the breadth, interesting how the S&Ps actually turned back up here through the weekend. I still think the absolute best way for you to understand this market state, which is a pain in the butt market state, no doubt about it. And actually, did I? Okay, good. I did remember to post that. But I think I showed you a few days ago. There was really telling interview by a couple like trader dudes. Rick Santelli, who was a fantastic trader for years and years and years, kind of got corrupted by the CNBC thing. They must have thrown so much money at him that it was sort of like, we're going to make you a deal you can't refuse kind of idea. So now he's become a puppet of the sort of the corporate shill media voice. But of course, he's got a whole bunch of buddies of his down in the various different options exchanges and stuff. And I thought this interview here that we posted about a week or so ago just absolutely nailed it, just absolutely unequivocally nailed it. And this gentleman here specifically said that usually what happens in these kind of events is that you actually get a melt up in the market. And what I'm specifically talking about is the US debt ceiling debate sort of froze the funding of the US Treasury. Obviously, they couldn't go issue a whole bunch of new debt because then that would break through the debt ceiling that they were not allowed to have. And so, grandma sitting over there at the US Treasury is sort of like, hey, I want to issue more debt. I want to issue more debt. And this built up to a head, build up to a head, build up to a head. And so now it's sort of like, okay, well, they can finally do it. And so now she has to go and like literally float like a trillion dollars in new debt in like a week. So he's sort of saying you can see it coming. There's going to be a tsunami of treasury issuance. I'm not exactly sure when the date of all of this is supposed to happen. I do find it interesting that a whole bunch of sort of dominoes, specifically the Biden actually going after crypto and going after guys like CZ. Notice that didn't happen until after they got that debt ceiling debate thing done. So now that all that debate and the agreement with the GOP controlled U.S. Congress, once that's now been done, now they can do things like go after crypto in earnest. But if you think about what he said, and just go and grab this tweet, it's only about a 2-minute interview, but I think he basically nailed it. If we go back on over and we look at sort of what the market is doing, I was screwing around in gold here this morning, wasting time. I get the feeling, especially with regard to the NASDAQ, that that's what's basically happening here is we have this sort of melt up scenario. Interesting thing is we are starting to come into levels, right? So there is the entire old peak. And of course, what are we supposed to think if we see the market smiling at us? So anybody who sort of saw this pattern develop, and keep in mind, that's now, November of 2021. So that's a year and a half ago. It's quite a while ago now. There's your rate tightening cycle. Ugh, what a mess. There's your bottom. And actually, we had just absolutely incredible buy signals. One of these days, I ought to take some of the damn signals that I get. I put out a tweet actually specifically about TRI's platform and a signaling system that I developed on the platform that comes from my 30 years working in the stock market. I don't know where I have it on here. Might have put that page away. Anyway, the outside upside key reversals. Actually, I put a tweet out that probably is a better way to show this, but it might take forever to find it. But these key reversal signals are just stunning. And they just keep rocking and rolling. I wanted to try and find you that tweet, but I don't see it here. Too much stuff here. I tweet way too much. Takes me a minute or two just to find it all. Anyway, the point being that the signals are just kicking it. Darn, I don't know how long it's going to take me to find this. Could take me a half an hour. Here we is that it? Yep, this is it. So here is all those damn tech stock buy signals. I mean, it's just incredible. Whether it be things like this was a semiconductor name. I think this was the NASDAQ itself. I think this was like Amazon. I mean, just stunning how powerful these key reversals are. And actually, we even had one that just came in the other day. And I don't know what is up with me, but I just didn't take it. I should have. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. What the hell was it? It was Best Buy. So, and of course, Best Buy, what products, segment market do they speak to? Look at the damn thing, a gapped higher here, just taken off. So, I mean, that's the kind of market that we're in. I would definitely listen to these signals. In fact, I mean, look at this goddamn Toyota. I mean, that's ridiculous. Have any of you heard me squawking about Toyota Motor Company recently as a trade? And what kills you, right, is I actually had my order working and they literally missed my order by like 15 cents. Oh my goodness. Another $8 today. This is insane. I mean, yeah, that's a weekly chart. You want to see? I mean, look at this. This is ridiculous. Look how close. I mean, it's almost like they saw my order on the order book and went, "No, I don't think so, Brian. Nice try." Look at that. So anyway, I'd say the signals at TRI are working. And of course, Intel, you've heard me barking about Intel. Now Intel's going crazy. So Jesus H Christ. So anyway, I think that Beamish guy is on the right track. You just got to be able to pull the damn trigger. So, we are going through that blow off top phase here in the market. The only question is, how long can this little blow off top phase last? It is interesting how we are coming up into horizontal support and resistance. This is the original breakdown. And if I was an institutional player and I was shorting against these highs, but keep in mind that this is all in reference to things like, remember Alan, and he sold just a ridiculous amount of Tesla stock there a year or two ago into that sort of woke stupidity market there. And actually, I mean, you see what Toyota Motor Company is doing. All those vehicle companies are just booming here. It's interesting. I'm not really a big fan of Fords. In fact, actually, the car that I bought for Liam was a Toyota. But you can see he's rocking and rolling here. And actually interesting down here, the yield on Ford was actually pretty attractive. Yield's not so attractive anymore. But, I think more importantly is you just got to see the message. This is kind of like understanding, do you see the forest through the trees? What's the message of the market here? Is that a bear? I don't think so. I mean, you see what happened when this damn thing W'd out before and woohoo, just went crazy. And I get the impression, if there was a lot of demand for used cars and because there just weren't any new cars being produced because of the supply chain issues and all that. Well, now that they actually have new cars, then that means people haven't bought new cars in quite a while because they got euchred into buying a used car there a couple of years ago. So maybe the demand for new cars right now is like through the roof. And of course, everybody wants to buy an electric car these days. So, if we just look at that Tesla, I'm sure it's probably booming higher as well. Yeah, rocking and rolling. The issue here, though, is, I don't know. I mean, we're coming into gaps here. This looks like an AB equals CD, which means we're probably going to top out somewhere up in this area. I think there's just me personally. I think there's more money to be made on something like the Toyota. The problem is I missed the trade. It's gone now. What a bummer. Such a good idea there. So anyway, one thing I will say is I don't actually necessarily think that the market is moving into today's event here with the Fed. I think it's going to be used as sort of a news catalyst, and we'll talk more about this in the party coming up here as we get closer to the actual announcement. But actually, believe it or not, I actually think this is the more important date. Friday coming up here. which is a huge options expiry event date. So that's probably, this will be a quadruple witching day. And in the TRI SOF, our stock options and sort of stock pickers club last night, where of course I screamed and yelled and ranted and raved at length about missing those goddamn Intel and Toyota trades. We went through and looked at a bunch of the options data. Of course, there's your friend and mine. And actually, I got to hand it to crypto Twitter. They really should make him look like a fool, because he's acting more like a political puppet than actually like somebody who's like, hey, this is not good for the public. Which I think and that was part of our debate that we had in the lounge this morning, was just sort of like, I don't want to open up that can of worms again. Anyway, so looking at some of the options open interest information, here's like a really, really good example. This was the Intel options. And look at this. This is embarrassing how bad this is. So you saw that Intel, of course, was up again today. Where was that? And along with Toyota, probably see the same damn thing. But just as an example, right? This is what I think is going on in the marketplace. I mean, beautiful W's. I mean, you should be long. And maybe if I get a nice pullback through the latter part of the summer, early spring, maybe or early fall, I can get in on this. But kind of missed that trade. But you see the price there, 34.85. Then we come back on over to the options, and these are the put options. We all know, of course, that institutions write, 95% of all puts. There is the open interest data on these puts, and this is the big June expiry. And we scroll down to 34.35. Oh, what a surprise. There's still one guy floating out there, 35, this little one. They probably want to make this thing on Friday close at like $35.01. But look how brutal this is. I mean, this is how, and this is why I get so angry and upset at this idiot. Because frankly speaking, don't get me wrong, CZ does a lot of crooked business, a lot. He used to have secret channels where he and SBF and all the other sort of crypto exchange hierarchy in the crypto space all talk together about how they'd fuck the public over. So don't kid yourself. CZ's a fucking crook. There's no doubt about it. But in this world, it's catch me if you can, right? And hey, if you can't catch me, fuck you. I gotta steal another billion of your dollars. But for this clown here to actually say, well, you're a crook, and we're so much better in the United States that we're going to fuck you because we're holier than thou. That's just hypocrisy. And it's such a good commentary on how, the Muslims call this hell. And you have to earn your way out of hell. And frankly speaking, look at the way the world that works right now. I'd have to agree with them. But, here is a fantastic example where in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, I mean, basically this price, all of these people that bought put options, because this thing, is heading down and all that, in 4 weeks, all of a sudden, you go and look at the options data and you see that Wall Street is just going to hit an absolute out of the park home run year. Now, did the world all of a sudden get so much better in the past 3 or 4 weeks? I mean, come on, people. And I mean, you see the way that Toyota is acting. If we pulled up all the options information on Toyota Motor Company, would it not be exactly the same kind of image? And the answer, of course, is we went through a ton of stocks and they all look exactly like this. I mean, this is how brutally corrupt our system is. So you can understand why Brian's just a tad bit salty these days, because you just see this day after day after day. And then these guys have the audacity to say, oh, well, crypto's all criminals. And I mean, come on, you hypocrites. We did actually do like a really deep dive into Japanese stocks and trying to understand what's going on, looking at various different markets around the world. And I have to say, the international equity market looks very, very strong here. There are some parts, obviously Europe, that look very weak, but maybe in the after party, we'll dig into which of these international markets looks the strongest. And I got to say, the easiest way for you to actually identify this, you can do your deep dive research and come up with levels and all that kind of fun stuff on TradingView. But the easiest way to see this on a daily basis is, of course, we built this totally awesome engine. And we can just come into the country funds and you can just pull up a grid. Of course, don't see any fives or sixes because I don't think there are any steals out there in Stockland now. But you can definitely see which markets are bull and which are bear. And this is just a handy, simple way to look at the world. And so, specifically last night in our meeting, we pulled up this Mexico fund looks uber strong here. The only problem is, can you buy that all the way up top? Like kind of like the market's doing its blow off top kind of phase and all that. So this is the one reason why I really like this platform is you can surf the world out. We're just looking at the country funds. You can see the whole damn world in just one image. And of course, there's the Japanese stock market just going absolutely ballistic here. So, and the thing is it looks like there's still further to go here. Anyway, so we got our Fed meeting coming up here shortly. As I had said, a lot of the names and stuff that we've been barking about recently, I suppose here's one little one that I was able to get in on. Sure like the look of this little guy here. If the market is going to go into some sort of melt up mode, Brian likes his big fat W's. So what a big surprise. Brian's long this one. This is the kind of stuff that probably, the interesting thing is a lot of people have lost a lot of money in junior market, in the speculative market. We talked a bit earlier about how, like the NASDAQ topped out there at the end of 2021, I guess it was 2022. You can see the small caps, they topped out almost right out of the gate 2021. This, of course, was when, Allen was on Saturday Night Live and all that nonsense. And of course, the crypto market got wiped out there as well. So hopefully you see the similarities between crypto and the junior stock market. One thing I will say is that, yes, the NASDAQ is going ballistic here. One market that I have been noticing that's been like uber strong here recently is the Russell 2000. And, looking at that little junior internet play, you can kind of see it here too. We are breaking through all these trend lines. Are we about to start confirming big W's? You can see probably I would call that like maybe an Adam and an Eve or maybe an Adam and Steve. So, when this market actually starts breaking out through these highs and we start carving out higher highs and higher lows, then we're right back into the bull. And you also know, based on that Benner cycle stuff, there isn't a hell of a lot at 23 left. So if anything, this is absolutely perfect alignment with Benner cycle. 23 is that basing year, the year you're supposed to go buy your corner lots. I wouldn't even be surprised if we look back in hindsight and we see that was some sort of major base in the junior stock market. And like I showed you, like little ones like this, my hunch is, and actually it was interesting, I was seeing a bunch of names in the crypto space that actually I see a lot of activity in the covered call space, which means that they're buying the stock and writing the call options, expecting the market to go up. So go figure. You can kind of see it, 23 is a base and they are basing. So slow and steady wins a race. Actually, here was one name that was just mentioned on the site yesterday because we were kicking around hydrogen, electric vehicles and stuff. I mean, look at that chart, eh? Holy moly. So, whether it be like little internet names, whether it be like junior battery names, that kind of stuff, probably also to a certain degree, a lot of the sort of better quality crypto names. We are in that basing period. Get ready. next year or two, especially if the Fed has said that they have gone in front of the inflation. I think we even saw some data here this morning that sort of reiterated that it looks like the Fed's in front of the inflation problem. Producer price index here came in down 0.3%. It's going to be tough for the Fed to raise rates in the face of that. Core PPI, of course, that's what the Fed likes to follow. They like the core numbers. Of course, we'll see that what personal consumption expenditure index, that's their favorite indicator. But what that looks like going forward, but just even that kind of data right there, they have killed the broader economy. Haven't really dented the housing market inflation, and I don't think they will. But the broader economy, Main Street, if you will, they have gotten in front of that inflation problem. So, if I was a betting man, I'd say probably the Fed needs to pause here. And I think the market's pricing that in. I'd be curious, though, as to see where do they take the market out on Friday with regard to that big options expiry event coming up. And when does the Treasury actually start to issue all this new debt that everybody's worried about coming down the pike? Okay, there's your rant for your Wednesday. And as I said, we'll maybe do a little bit of an after party here, maybe answer any questions or anything like that people might have. But really, we should probably do an FOMC hangout. Doesn't really have to be anything too formal. In about 2 hours, roughly, because the Fed usually announces the rate increase, or I guess this time it's going to be unchanged. Who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us all. And then usually the press conference goes to about 12:30 or so. So we should probably see some fireworks through that. All right, there's your offering for the day. PMA for the win, slow and steady wins the race. Looks like somebody over there took advantage of that Toyota, so that's good. Glad somebody made some money on that fucking thing. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win, slow and steady wins the race. All the best. The only thing left Brian to say is bye for now.